Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Altcoin Mentors YouTube channel. My name is Peter, and today I'm going to be giving you an update on our 2K 5x Bitcoin challenge. If you like our videos, please follow us on Twitter and on Telegram. We also have a model portfolio so that you can view our positions and progress, not just for this challenge, but our overall progress for a model portfolio. The link is down below. If you'd like to be notified of our latest videos, please hit the bell button so you can track us. So let's start off with where we are. So on April 24th, I funded a BitMEX account with $2,000. I made two trades so far, a short and a long. Currently, I'm up 7% total on two trades. The value is at 2139 versus 2000. So I am a long way away from 10,000, but at least I'm not going backwards. So I'll talk about the trades that I made and why I made them. But before I do that, I'll talk about why I'm doing this challenge. So this challenge really is not to set a world record for speed on how fast I can turn 2,000 into 10,000, because I'm not using any leverage. I'm only trading Bitcoin. The purpose of this is to see really who can get to 5x first from here, right? Myself or Bitcoin. So we posted some videos about not hodling or holding, right, for the long term. So by the end of this year, a lot of people tweet and post and blog that they really believe that Bitcoin can be at 40 to 50,000 by the end of this year. So that means that if you have $2,000 and you invest it into Bitcoin and you just hold it, right, within a 4 to 9 month time period, right, by the end of this year, that means that you should expect to have, your portfolio of 2,000 turn to 10,000, 5x. So the reason why I'm doing this is to show that I think I can get there faster, right? I don't know if Bitcoin is going to go to 50,000, right? That's the only way that you can turn 2,000 into 10,000. It has to go to 50K, right? But I'm fairly confident in my abilities as a trader, and I think I can get to 5x before Bitcoin. So let's see what happens. All right, let's talk about this trade that I made. So basically my trend for Bitcoin is actually up. People think that, I'm always taking shorts. No, I'm taking shorts when there's an opportunity for me to take shorts. So the trend for Bitcoin has been to the upside for a while. And so I would really like to take my trade to the upside, because that's where I think I can make more money. But it doesn't mean that I can't take trades to the short side. The reason being is that over the last 3 days, we have been in an inside day. So the Bitcoin is not going down, it's channeling, it's just going sideways. But basically what it did was here is the high and here is the low. So basically if you look at the chart for Bitcoin, this is the one big day down. And then day 1, day 2, and now we're in day 3. We are inside this range of 9,700 to 8,700. It's almost $1,000. So in this range, right, there is money to be made. So if it breaks up, do I really expect it to go a little bit higher? Maybe, right? But until it breaks 9,700, 9,800, right, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking profits up and down in this tight range. So that is what I've been doing. So here, as the markets were going down, it broke below major support at 9,400. My first entry price was going to be here. I thought I was going to get filled at about 92.50. Then it started to go back up, and then it never confirmed to the upside. I got another color change, and I got confirmation to the downside. I got filled at 93.50 and a little bit higher. I'm sorry, it went a little bit lower, so I started to make some money. It bounced off the 200 of the 30 minute, went a little bit up, and then started to go back down again. I put my trailing stop up here. It hit the 200 daily EMA, started going back up. It hit the 200 EMA for the 30 minute and started going back down. So then I put my trailer right at the top, 90.75. It was working in my favor. Then it came back up and it kicked me out with a small profit of about 2.8%. Then it went right back down. So, but I still made the decision. I still made the call. I didn't really expect it to go down that much further. And this is where I was right and wrong at the same time, because I was right that it wouldn't go that much further, but I was wrong that maybe I could have taken profit down here, right? But because I don't really believe in the the sell side direction of Bitcoin, I had to take profits a little bit more quickly to the upside. So talk about why I made the trade to the upside on Bitcoin. So I made the trade a little bit early because my whole philosophy is that when you're trading, the trend is your friend. So because the trend is your friend, you can actually get in on a shorter time frame. When you're looking to short Bitcoin, you have to wait for the longer time frame because the shorter time frames can be a little bit tricky to opposite the market. So basically going into the long side, because the trend is to the upside, you can look at a shorter time frame. So that's what I ended up doing. So I looked at the 5-minute chart over here. So this is exactly what I look at. So basically, I'm looking to make a move above the 50 and the 200. So all day it was kind of like channeling. And then basically it bounced off the 50 and then it started going higher. And the funny thing about this trade here, a related note, is that I actually wanted to get in a little bit earlier. I wanted to get in at 88.65. But when I put my order in, BitMEX said that the contract, the perpetual contract, was suspended for some reason. And I was like, uh-oh, this is the end. Something's going wrong, right? Something's happening with, BitMEX, uh-oh. So for a brief second, for 30 seconds, I thought that, this whole thing was just going to go off the rails. But then 30 seconds later, it came back online. It said that the trading was back in. And then, but the problem now was that now the price was a little bit higher. So then I eventually got filled at 88.85. And here, this is where I got lucky. So when people ask me about how I got into this trade, I tell them that this is my normal setup. This is what I try to do. In my challenge, I'm not trading with leverage. I'm not trading altcoins. I'm only trading Bitcoin. I'm going short and long, short-term trades and swing trades. I'm trading my normal setups. I'm not trying to chase a lot of stuff. But this is where I got a little bit lucky. So in this case, I think that suspension might have been because there was an overload in order flow for Bitcoin, to the upside or possibly to the downside. But I just got lucky. So there's always a phrase about luck, right? Hard work places you where luck can find you. So for me on this one, the only thing lucky about this entry was that volatility came in, right a couple minutes after I got in. So it's not that my entry was lucky. I didn't get lucky on my entry. I got lucky on range, right? And that's where the luck came in because I made a decent amount of money in a faster amount of time. But it didn't go that much higher. So I'll talk about why I ended up getting out. So the reason why I got out was because if you look at the spreadsheet, you'll see that 9,400 was my target. So we're in a rangy day channeling. So I'm trying to make a decent amount of money. So as it goes higher and higher and higher, I tweeted out that you have to be able to manage your emotions, your capital, and especially even your profits. So what happens a lot of times is that when people go into a entry, they have a good ratio, basically like 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. Those are my minimums. So I want to make 2 or 3 and risk only 1. But what ends up happening is that as they get into a trade, they get more emotional. So they forget about the reward and risk ratio. And what I mean about that is that as it gets closer to the target of 9,400, what people tend to do is they tend to give it too much room. Because if you're only $100 away from your target, you cannot have a $200 stop loss, right? That doesn't make any sense. Because then you have a reverse ratio. Now what you're doing is your reward is 1 and your risk is 2. But you say, but you're not risking 2. You're only risking, a little bit of, you're just risking your profit. But you have to keep in mind that trading, right, is a business. So you can't give away too much of your profits. You can't have too many loss leaders. Because then if you really wanted to make a lot of money, then your target should be at 9,800. This way, if my target was really at 9,800, then I can have a $200 stop loss, right? Because then now I have 4 to 1. So if it's at 3 to 1. So then if it's at 9,300 and my target's at 9,800, I'm going for 500 and I'm going for a loss of 200. That's how you have to see it. So every time at every single point, you have to think about your ratios. So here and again, I was right and wrong. So basically, market went up. When it was at 93.11, it was at about $80 away. I had put my stop loss a little bit, my trailer a little bit tighter. And then as it broke new high and it created it, I trailed it a little bit tighter by $75 this time. Because now I want to keep my ratio at 1 to 1 because it's a profit. So then I ended up getting kicked out at 92.50. So for a while I was right because it went a little bit lower. So if I kept my trailer a little bit wider, right, you still would have been kicked out, but you would have had a smaller profit. And then it would have gone up, and then you might have gotten upset. And then it came right back down again. So that's why you have to understand that you have to have a plan. So basically, trading is about having a plan. That's why when I tweet out almost every morning, I tweet out, what is your pod, P-O-D? What is your plan of the day? So you need to figure out where you're going to go. So if you're day trading or swing trading, having a plan is very, very important. Even for long-term investors, having a plan is very important because you have to ask yourself, how much money do you think you can make? If the answer to that question is, I want to make as much as the market lets me, then guess what? That big winner can turn into a loser. So you have to be very, very careful of that. So let's look at why I didn't trade yesterday. So the reason why I didn't trade yesterday was that yesterday was Friday. So generally, I don't like to trade after the equities markets close. I like to give myself a little bit of a breather. So at 4 o'clock, I usually stop trading everything. So for the whole day, this one 30-minute bar dominated. Right? So during regular market hours between like 9 and 1 o'clock, most of the time, I tend not to look at Bitcoin too much. Right? So that's why this is going to be a challenge for me because I'm really going to be a part-time trader on Bitcoin. Right? And then even then, I still feel like I could have a better chance of getting to 5x before Bitcoin does. That's what I really want to do is I want to show you my style, my old school technical analysis style. Because as you can see, I don't have MACD, RSI, I don't have trend lines, I don't have stochastic, I don't have Keltner channels, I don't have Bollinger Bands, I don't have Elliott Wave, I don't use fib sequences, I don't use angles, I don't use a lot of the stuff that people use because trading is really, for me, mostly mental. It's by having a plan. It's about managing your money, managing your risk, managing your profit, and managing yourself. By having discipline and having some patience and having a better understanding of the markets, that most of the time it does channel. Right? Rarely does it just go on a big run. So if you can only make money on a big run, you're only going to make money about 30% of the time, right? And then when it channels, you're going to lose a lot of money. So the idea for me is to make some money or a decent amount of money in the channels, and then when it runs, right? And hopefully when it runs, I'm going to show you how to ride the waves, right? For big winners. But right now, unfortunately, there are no big winners to be had. So right now in this choppy sideways market, I'm going to be taking profits to the upside and to the downside, but in a very short time frame. But if it does break out, and hopefully it does, then hopefully I can show you how to ride the waves a little bit longer. So once again, I thank you very much for watching our videos. If you like our videos, please share it with your friends and other crypto traders. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Telegram. If you have any questions, please ask away in the comment sections below. We do a very good job of answering all of our comments and questions right away. And I really suggest that you follow us on Twitter or on Telegram. Because what I do on Twitter is that I usually just give you an update, even on an intraday basis. If I'm in a trade, in our last trade, for example, I talk about, I'll show it to you. If you do a 2K 5X, so if you just do that on the tweets, you'll see all of our things. And what I do is I talk about like where I entered, where I put my current stop, what I'm looking to do, and I just put comments in below so you can have a better understanding of my mental process while I am in a trade. So once again, I thank you very much for watching and see you in our next video.